months. Well, our next guest played a key role in turning President Trump's peace vision in the Middle East into a reality. He's Jason Greenblatt, President Trump's former special envoy for Middle East peace. Thank you very much for joining us. Another tremendous announcement and accomplishment by the administration. The president announced that the two nations would restore diplomatic relations yesterday and said in a tweet, quote, "Another historic breakthrough today. Our two great friends, Israel and the Kingdom of Morocco, have agreed to full diplomatic relations, a massive breakthrough for peace in the Middle East." Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to hold a phone call with the Moroccan King Mohammed VI and the president today to discuss the agreement. Mr. Greenblatt, how significant is this not only for the region, but also towards cementing the president's legacy?
Well, thank you for having me here again. On this first day of Hanukkah, we have a lot to celebrate. It's quite a remarkable and historic achievement by President Trump, the King of Morocco, and all the people who worked so hard on this file, Jared Kushner, Avi Berkowitz, and so many others. It's really important. Number one, it removes the veto card yet again from the Palestinian leadership, who instead of trying to negotiate directly with Israel in good faith, in a realistic manner, go around the world and try to prevent progress between others and Israel. And the King of Morocco, as well as others who have recently signed peace deals with Israel, recognize that their job, first and foremost, is to protect the people of their own country, to continue to improve their economy, especially in the time of COVID, to protect the security of their people. And while they support the Palestinians and they want to see better lives and peace for the Palestinians, the Palestinian leadership cannot stop progress. And we're seeing this time and time again now. And I commend President Trump and Jared and others for their tenacity in pushing forward these peace deals and succeeding at them.
This was a big focal point, obviously, for the administration and Morocco and Israel. We also know that that Middle East envoy, Jared Kushner, you mentioned him, is trying to work out a deal now between Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Much of around the use of the airspace there, there was doubt all along that Kushner, yourself, and the president could achieve this. Why do you think it's happening now?
Well, the doubt was just misplaced. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They used to make fun of Jared and myself and David Friedman and Avi as if we're diplomats without experience, and actually, we did the opposite. We studied, we learned from the people who worked on it in the past, but we also studied the current climate. And I think that we proved that while their view might have been true years ago, we weren't there, we can't speak to what happened years ago, their view was just wrong in the time in which we live. And it's clear that that decision has borne fruit. And as to the Qatar GCC issue, I think that's yet another significant problem that Jared is trying to resolve. It is complicated, as all these conflicts are.
Right.
And my understanding is that they made good progress. The leader of Kuwait tweeted that they made good progress. I hope they finish this off by the end of the Trump administration. Right. It's important. The airspace is important. Iran is benefiting from this because Qatar has to fly over Iran. That's not the way this should be, but there are issues that they have to resolve, and hopefully we'll see progress on that front as well.
Trump has isolated Iran. He's used economic cooperation to overcome differences, religious differences. But how concerned are you about the potential for a Biden presidency to blunt all of this momentum?
If the Biden administration goes back into the Iran deal, we and the rest of the world are going to be in extreme danger. The Biden administration, and the Europeans for that matter, should listen to the voices of the region. It is the region that is the most in danger of the Iranian regime. It is the region who will be attacked first. And if they fail to listen to the region, who, by the way, all speak with one voice, then I'm extremely concerned. If they simply say, we already gave you lots of cash, now we're going to go back to a deal that doesn't work, and then once we go back into the deal, we'll talk about future negotiations, I think that's an extraordinarily naive way of thinking, and it is unlikely to yield progress.
All right, in the last minute that I have with you, Mr. Greenblatt, you celebrated your daughter's engagement in Dubai just last month, just weeks after the normalization of relations between Israel and the UAE. And you said, quote, 4 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I'd be celebrating my daughter's engagement in the desert in Dubai with a delicious kosher spread the dawn of a new era. What has this meant for you personally to be part of this process?
Well, as a diplomat or former diplomat, you rarely get the time to so quickly see such a dramatic shift and on such a personal level. It was beautiful. And maybe I should have said in my tweet, not even 4 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined it in January of 2020. I visited Dubai with my whole family in January of 2020. It's a beautiful place. We had a great time. But then I also would not have imagined that we could hold such an outwardly amazing celebration at the home of a very close personal friend with Hebrew music playing in the background, dancing to Hebrew music. I mean, the world has changed, and that's just an amazing example of what President Trump, the Trump administration, the leadership in the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, and now Morocco, and of course Sudan, these are the things that actually make an impact to people, to people's lives, and it's just incredible.
Okay, former Special Envoy for Middle East Peace, Jason Greenblatt, thank you very much, and happy Hanukkah to you and your family.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Happy Hanukkah.